After hours of travel, Danora and Yogiri arrived in a mountainous area filled with rocks. Despite Danora's ability to drive the car, she still felt scared as she was just a girl, unable to seek Yogiri's help since he was sleeping and had poor driving skills. Then, their car stuck in a dead-end road and Danora urgently woke up Yogiri. Unfortunately, waking up Yogiri was a challenging task for her. In Yogiri's dream, he recalled his past when he first met his sister. Before meeting his sister, in an institution's laboratory, Asaka had signed an agreement consenting to the possibility of death during work. However, Asaka was unaware of the tasks assigned by the institution. The institution was named Independent Higher Order Organism Research, focused on researching occult sciences with the primary goal of combating and taming powerful curses. Yukio then took Asaka to a place underground. As an educator, Asaka's current task was to handle and manage a mysterious monster named Alpha Omega. Of course, Asaka was shocked, as she had not expected to be given such a terrifying task by the institution. But if Alpha Omega left without supervision, Alpha Omega could pose a threat to humanity. After arriving at Alpha Omega's location, Yukio left Asaka there as his task was only to accompany her. Of course, Asaka was terrified because she had to approach Alpha Omega alone. Asaka then entered an artificial world or another realm to meet Alpha Omega. She was extremely cautious and polite when visiting Alpha Omega's house there. When Asaka saw Alpha Omega's figure, her fear suddenly disappeared, replaced by anger towards the institution. Filled with anger, Asaka brought Alpha Omega out of the house to play. Asaka didn't understand the institution's intentions. She didn't perceive Alpha Omega as a threat to humanity. Soon after, Alpha Omega killed a shadow demon that had been following Asaka since the beginning. Alpha Omega explained that such figures often came to kill him. Then, Alpha Omega expressed a desire to play with Asaka, but it was getting late, and Alpha Omega suggested playing tomorrow. Asaka apologized for her emotional outburst earlier and introduced herself to Alpha Omega. However, Alpha Omega didn't have a personal name as it was merely a research subject. They shared a meal, and Asaka inquired about Alpha Omega's family, but Alpha Omega didn't understand what Asaka meant. After observing Alpha Omega's reaction, Asaka decided to give a name to Alpha Omega, Yogiri. Of course, Alpha Omega was delighted with the name, and even added Asaka's family name to his given name, Takato Yogiri. Initially surprised, Asaka would now become Yogiri's foster mother or guardian. Asaka would also teach Yogiri good ethics. Before I continue this story, I apologize because I don't have clarity on their relationship. As far as I understand, Asaka is Yogiri's foster mother, but Yogiri considers Asaka as his sister. I apologize if this information is incorrect, and I hope you correct it if you know about it. Shortly after, Yogiri woke up, and Danora explained that the path they had taken was a dead end. As Yogiri wanted to meet Sion as soon as possible, they needed to find an alternative route quickly. Suddenly, a dragon blocked their path and prepared to attack them. Shortly after, many dragons were about to attack them. Danora hugged Yogiri's arm, frightened by the number of dragons. Then, Yogiri instantly killed the dragons, and a golden lightning dragon approached them. However, Yogiri did not sense any intent to harm from the golden lightning dragon. After staring at each other for a while, the golden lightning dragon suddenly said, "You pass," and quickly left. Yogiri didn't understand the golden lightning dragon's meaning, so he shouted for it to explain the meaning of "you pass." If the golden lightning dragon didn't explain, it would face the same fate as the other dragons. Hearing this, the golden lightning dragon immediately transformed into a beautiful lowly named Attila. Danora was confused because the majestic and powerful dragon turned out to be a child. Makamoko mentioned that such things were common in the anime worlds with isekai theme. Attila explained that she was testing their suitability before meeting the Swordmaster. The mountainous region there was under the rule of the Swordmaster, and whoever proved worthy would receive a gift from him, as the Swordmaster was equivalent to a great sage. Then, Yogiri stated that he and Danora did not want to meet the Swordmaster. They passed through that path to reach the capital. Upon hearing this, Attila was surprised as she had misunderstood the situation. But she pleaded with them to still meet the Swordmaster, as she was tasked with gathering talented individuals. Although Danora and Yogiri were not interested, they decided to comply with Attila's wishes. Perhaps the Swordmaster could provide information on how to return to Earth. A few hours later, they arrived where many talented individuals were gathered. Soon after, Swordmaster arrived, and initiated a competition for the selection of the Holy King's knights. The rule was that participants must kill each other, and if anyone tried to escape the competition, all participants would be considered losers. Of course, Danora found these rules peculiar. Danora and Yogiri got involved in an insignificant event there. Shortly after, some people wanted to kill Yogiri, but he was saved by a knight named Rick. Then, Yogiri noticed some individuals using magic targeting him and Rick. Yogiri quickly killed them, and Rick remained unaware of the situation. After the first competition ended, Rick invited Danora and Yogiri to continue participating. The Swordmaster and the surviving participants would go to another location nearby. Then, an adventurer asked Danora for help in taking and placing a colored magic stone in his hand. The adventurer's body had been split due to an attack by one of the participants. After Danora helped him, the adventurer quickly recovered. Attila stated that if Yogiri became the Holy King's knight, she would be promoted to a servant. Although Yogiri found Attila's request troublesome, he agreed to it to gain information about returning to Earth. The adventurer introduced himself as Lionel, and he reluctantly joined the competition because he was invited by his friend. Lionel's power came from a colored magic stone, which functioned like a gacha, granting him various items or abilities. He received a colored magic stone from a beautiful goddess every day. By the way, this anime makes too many references to other isekai-themed anime. After walking for a while, they entered a magical barrier protecting a tower. Unfortunately, the malevolent aura within the barrier was too sharp for Lionel to endure. Danora and Yogiri sensed the evil aura, and Makamoko shielded Danora from its effects. When Danora looked at Yogiri, he seemed nervous and lost in thought. This confused Danora, as she had never seen Yogiri act this way before. Shortly after, the malevolent aura disappeared without a trace, and Yogiri anxiously searched for Attila's presence. Makamoko and Rick explained that Attila didn't enter the barrier, as it was reserved only for participants and the Swordmaster. Upon reaching the tower's summit, the Swordmaster showed them where the Demon God and Holy King's Knight were frozen in time. The Holy King's Knight was a woman who simultaneously thrust her sword backward at the Demon God and herself. Danora observed them closely, even seeing many monsters gathered around them. This place was referred to as the end of the world, and this world could face apocalypse at any time. Shortly after, Lionel's friend Frederica attempted to use her immense power to kill the Demon God. Unfortunately, when Frederica attacked the Demon God, her fireball slowed down and stopped within the Demon God and Holy King's Knight's area. The Swordmaster explained that Frederica's actions were futile, as her attack could reach the Demon God in an undetermined amount of time, possibly hundreds of years. Swordmaster's duty was only to watch over the Holy King's Knight and the Demon God. Then, Swordmaster instructed two maid girls to explain the rules of the second round of the competition. Participants had 24 hours to descend to the first floor and collect points within the tower. If participants used a method to jump directly to the first floor, they wouldn't earn any points. Additionally, some special participants were added for this second round. Danora wondered if Yogiri could defeat the Demon God directly, but Yogiri had a rule about who he was allowed to kill. Once again, Yogiri daydreamed and exhibited peculiar behavior. Danora grew more curious as she observed Yogiri in this state. Then, Yogiri whispered something to Danora.